The Gigabyte GeForce RTX 4080 Super Windforce V2 is an excellent option for users who are looking for a blend of gaming and productivity. This card uses the new iteration of the RTX 4080, the Super variant, resulting in more tensor cores, a higher memory clock of 23 gigabits per second, along with a decent bump in clock speeds, delivering exceptional performance at a discounted price from the predecessor. Starting off with the design and some important metrics, the card houses three 100mm fans that rotate in opposite directions with a matte black finish with some glossy patterns in the middle and the corners. On the top, along with the usual Gigabyte branding, the heatsink can be glanced at with multiple copper heat pipes going through. The backside is supported by a metal backplate, along with an extended heatsink that leaves room for additional heat dissipation through airflow, allowing for a more efficient cooling solution to support the power of the card. There's also a dual BIOS switch on the backside that allows you to switch between OC and silent mode. As a default, it uses the OC mode. Speaking of power, the card is an absolute powerhouse thanks to the strength of the RTX 4080 Super. At 1440p, it's able to output more than 100 frame rates in almost all of the modern AAA titles at high settings, along with very demanding games like Cyberpunk 2077. Even at 4K resolution, you can expect smooth gameplay from the card without any stutters or frame drops. If you compare it to its rival from AMD, the 7900 XTX, the card is able to achieve around 2 to 3% more FPS in most games. With ray tracing enabled, it becomes a different ballgame altogether, with the Gigabyte RTX 4080 Super Windforce V2 outperforming the AMD equivalent with a performance increase of up to 45%. While this performance goes crazy, the cooling design of the card needs to go the same mile or it's all for nothing. Gigabyte uses their Windforce cooling solution on this card, as apparent from the name, which ensures the thermals remain at a very acceptable range. In addition to the triple fans with unique blades, there's a large copper plate that connects directly to the GPU, allowing for heat to dissipate quite easily. This is supported by numerous heat pipes, resulting in a thick heatsink on top of the PCB. All of this together keeps the card at around 70 degrees Celsius under high workload, while the hotspot touches around 82 degrees Celsius. As a cherry on top, the fans are lubricated with graphene that extends the lifespan up to 2 times. The acoustic levels are also quite good, and you shouldn't be able to hear the fans even if you overclock the card manually. When it comes to power consumption and limit, this is the biggest difference between the two versions of the Gigabyte RTX 4080 Super Windforce. The V2 has a higher power limit of up to 120%, while the V1 has a power limit of 112%. This difference in power limit is thanks to the 2mm increase in height from the V2 variant, and an additional heat pipe. The card is rated for 320 watts TDP, and the minimum PSU requirement is 700 watts. You'll need a single 12-volt high-power connector for this card, which comes in the box. For connectivity, you're looking at a single HDMI 2.1 port and 3 DisplayPort 1.4a ports. I do think at this price range you should be getting DisplayPort 2.0 support, but this isn't a major issue. In summary, the Gigabyte RTX 4080 Super Windforce V2 is an amazing card that can be geared towards both gaming and productivity alike, giving you absolute performance without compromising on anything significant. In short, what I like is the great cooler efficiency, the excellent ray tracing performance, and there's a lot of room for overclocking. What I don't like is that there's no DisplayPort 2.0 support. Ratings: Design, 9 out of 10. Performance, 9.5 out of 10. Acoustics, 9.5 out of 10. Thermals, 9.5 out of 10. Value, 9 out of 10. For an overall rating of 9 out of 10.